This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
Welcome into the Fast Break Podcast. I am your host, Sean Anderson. Alongside me, as always, is Ricky Widmer.
What's up, guys?
And Dave Oster.
Hey, everybody.
And today we're going to be remembering the life of Kobe Bryant and the 8 others that died on January 26th, 2020. Kobe Bryant, his 13-year-old daughter, Gianna, her 13-year-old teammates, Alyssa Altobelli and Peyton Chester, her parents, Alyssa Altobelli's parents, Carrie and John Altobelli. John Altobelli was the head coach at the Orange Coast College, and also Peyton Chester's mother died, Sarah Chester. The basketball assistant coach as well, Christina Mauser, passed away, and the pilot, Aria Zobayan, passed on January 26th, the helicopter crash that took the lives of 9 people. Obviously, we last recorded on the 24th. This happened 2 days later. A lot of reactions have been coming out. I don't think a larger death has happened, at least when it comes to impact, due to Kobe's age, the fact that Gianna was with him, the fact that 2 other young teenagers were on that flight as well, along with their parents and the pilot. I don't think I've seen more reaction from a death and something that's still lingering, even basically almost a week later. So at least let's just get first reactions from this. I will try to keep this as much hashtag on the court. That's the whole podcast that we try to do, because I know that when we talk about stuff off the court, it is something that gets a little bit iffy. But at least off the court, what I thought right away, I was in a pancake house, and I was just with my girlfriend, my friend Marty, and his girlfriend, and we were just talking and eating, and it was just like any other normal time we're hanging out. And then I look at my phone and I just see the word Kobe. I was like, okay, that's kind of weird. And like, I don't try to be on my phone when I'm with my friends, but then I heard like, oh my God, Kobe, oh my God, Kobe. And it was just like one after the other, after the other, after the other. I was like, what the hell's going on? And just seeing that he was dead was something that kind of shocked me. And I wasn't a huge Kobe guy. I'm not a Kobe Bryant fan. I wasn't like, a guy that went out of my way to watch Kobe. I think the only game that I did was his final game where he dropped 60. But it is still something that someone that young at 41 years old, and someone that did seem fairly invincible due to his playing career, the fact that he was dead was something that is very shocking. So at least for me, in my young 22 years of life, this has easily been the most shocking death that I think I've ever gone through. Which is weird because it doesn't really matter what we're going through, because we're not people that are close to him. Yeah. And I know that's a big part that people are bringing up, that, the biggest loss are for, obviously the people who lost outside of Kobe, the people that lost family members, but also at least for Kobe specifically, Vanessa Bryant lost her husband and her daughter, and her daughters as well lost their father and their sister. So, I mean, this is a absolutely horrible thing for their family. Our thoughts and condolences go out to their family, although it doesn't probably really matter in the grand scheme of things. But this is absolutely the largest death that I've ever at least seen.
Yeah, I'm trying to think with me. Sam asked me last night when we were doing our watch-along in Discord of like, oh, well, did you see like in the Discord? Because that entire morning I was doing a podcast here. Went home, I'm eating lunch. Sean texted us, and it was just like, holy shit, Kobe's dead. And like the first like it's a processing thing of like I think I heard this on ESPN where someone's like, you look at someone like Kobe, and I would even say in my book Michael Jordan would be in this also, where it's like you kind of think they're larger than life. That like when this happens, it's like, whoa, what? Like that, and that's what I texted back, like, whoa, like, huh? Kobe died? Like, what? Like, I always thought that, especially like a guy like Kobe, who's was 41, like, because me in my 30s, you don't expect someone like Kobe to have this conversation when you're like in your 30s. I thought I'd be like, okay, I'm in my 70s or 80s, and it's like, okay, now Kobe died, and it's like, oh, I had a great life. But I mean, that's, for me, it was like, whoa, and then just kind of processing everything of that day, because it was a shit show the entire day.
Yeah, for me at least, I was actually celebrating with my family for my mom's birthday and my brother's wife's birthday together, and it was minutes before we were singing happy birthday to them. And I was just like on the couch, like when I saw the news on my phone, like I just kind of went numb for like a solid 5 minutes. I was just, like you said, it's so surreal. And I think it speaks a lot to what Kobe had been in the NBA, and we got to watch him kind of grow up in front of our eyes, at least yourself and me, because we had started with the era of Jordan, like the end of Jordan's career, and that led into Kobe Bryant, you know, the 18-year-old hitting the NBA, and with moves that mimicked the greatest player of all time, and an attitude that was right there, and everything about him. And we got to watch him play his entire career in front of all of us, and it just, as time went on, you got a better connection with players because of social media. He made himself more available than any other star had been during their careers because of that. And I think that's why it hits differently as well, is just because we knew so much more about him, and we had gotten to see the start of Kobe post-playing career and all the things he had to offer and all the other passions he had in his life. And as soon as I got the news, it was just, I didn't know really how to react. I was just kind of sitting there. I was like, I don't even want to do anything. Like that afternoon after I left the house, I just went back to my house and was just like sitting there, like looking up Kobe stuff and just numb, you know?
Yeah, this is our 250th episode. So you think, I mean, whenever you see news, at least for me, I immediately try to think right away of like, all right, what do I think of this? And I don't think it's taken me longer to fully understand how I truly feel about Kobe's death. It's a lot of mixed emotions. It's a lot of things that, obviously, this is a tragedy. This is awful. No one at 41, 13, whenever these people passed away, no one should have to die like this, and no one should have to die this young. It's a tragedy, like absolutely. Whether you dislike Kobe, whether you love Kobe, whether you have no feelings about Kobe, the fact that 9 people perished in this, absolute tragedy.
Yeah.
But there are feelings as well that make me just like, I don't know if he should be canonized, and that was something that Bob Costa said. And that's because I didn't follow Kobe like you guys did. I wasn't, when he came into the league, I was 2 years old.
Right.
So I saw Kobe, like when I was fully grown up, it was past the Shaq and Kobe days. Like I remember watching the 2002 Kings, but I just loved Peja Stojakovic. And I really didn't understand basketball, and I didn't understand, the social stuff that would happen a year later, at least with Kobe. But you guys saw more of it. And Ricky, obviously, this is your jersey that we're hanging up right now. So you have more of a connection to Kobe. What is like the memory of Kobe Bryant that sticks out most to you?
Well, the thing I want to say first before that, to go off of what you said, is with me, the whole like finding out thing, like what Sean was saying, where it's like you're going through your thoughts and you're trying to like, what's the term you used? Where you're trying to find.
Yeah, I usually try to find my take. What's my idea? What's my angle on this? Bradley Beal just signed an extension. I immediately have thoughts on what he just did. But with this, I didn't have thoughts.
Yeah, with mine after like it was first Kobe, but then after the news, because like I said, the whole day was a shit show. Where it's like you've got some news outlets reporting that all the daughters were on board. Right. Some said that one of them was on board. There was one that said that Rick Fox was on board. And you see on Twitter, and I will say I don't like
TMZ reported 5 people were dead at first.
Yeah. I don't like the mob mentality of like, oh, this person should get fired. That like these people have jobs. These guys have lives. But at the same time, it's more on like the journalists too of like what's more important at that time. Getting the news out that this happened, that Kobe's dead, or hey, we don't know that for sure. Let's go ahead and wait until we get more information. But once it was finalized that Gianna was on the plane, although I never the helicopter. I never watched her play basketball. Had no connection to her when she was alive, but like that was the thing that hit me the most. Maybe it's because I'm a teacher that I deal with kids every day, that it's like this 13-year-old didn't get to experience, like she barely got to experience life.
That was a thing.
Barely got to experience life.
You could say that as well with her teammates, Peyton Chester and then Alyssa Altabelli as well. Where Kobe, I was able to develop an opinion on Kobe. I was able to, see what he was offering to the world, and I could take in, obviously, have my thoughts and have my opinion on what Kobe Bryant means. Where Gianna was never able to reach 41, and Alyssa wasn't, and Peyton wasn't. They were never able to live a full life, and the news that it was his entire family, awful, and I'm glad it's wrong, but it's also awful that 2 other 13-year-olds passed along with Gianna. Like, there's no bright side. There was no bright side to the news from TMZ that, like, 5 people died. Oh, no, now it's 9, and three of them are 13-year-olds. Like, there was no redeeming.
There was no silver
qualities in
lining
this.
at all in this.
TMZ found out before the families, and the families found out from social media.
I wanted to ask you about that because Retro brought it up. Do you think, because one of the big debates going on about this is, so TMZ finds out. Obviously, they're journalists. They're a news site.
Yes.
Their job is to report the news. Hey, this happened. Oh, shoot, let's get this out.
Yeah.
Do you think they should have held it, waited until Vanessa found out, and then broke it? Or are you on the journalistic thing of like, you know what? They did their job, and it's because what I've seen is it's not their fault. It's the officer's fault for not letting Vanessa know soon enough.
I don't want to get into this topic too much because I don't think it's appropriate for remembering Kobe Bryant. I think that the ideas that the family will be let known first now is something that is out the window just due to social media. If TMZ doesn't break it, somebody else will break it.
Yeah.
TMZ, I think, is a gross corporation. I don't think they have journalistic integrity. They're made their money off of just getting in front of people's faces and making them say horrible shit because they're harassing them. TMZ is a scummy corporation. So, and I did, that was my thoughts pre Kobe Bryant death.
Yeah.
So I don't think that the expectation should be you're going to find out from the police anymore, because if someone of this note passes, you're absolutely, someone out there is going to take advantage of it from a business perspective and try to draw clicks. So no matter if I say that that's gross, it's not going to change anything. So at least going back to the reason why the Kobe jersey's there.
Yeah.
What's the first Kobe memory or the largest Kobe memory that sticks out to you?
For me, it's the memory we never got. And it's because although I went out and I mainly bought this too, Dave was more of a Kobe fan
You've had
than
this before.
Yeah, I've had this before, but I would say Dave growing up was a way bigger Kobe fan than I was. Early on, I was a LeBron stan. Like, it was Dave was on Kobe's side, I was on LeBron's side. And I remember it was the year the Magic went to the finals.
2009.
Where it was like, that was the year I was thinking, this is when we're going to get it. We're going to get Kobe versus LeBron in an NBA finals. I mean, Kobe still got the job done, went to the finals, won the whole thing. But like, that to me is the first thing that I think of, like the memory we never got from Kobe. Because, of course, you can throw out the 81 points against the Raptors. And he had great series. The one I think about is the Denver Nuggets in the playoffs where he went mano-a-mano with Carmelo Anthony, good friend of his. But that's the first thing I think of like, in my life, I wanted that moment so bad. And then Dwight Howard ruined it.
No, LeBron ruined it by not being good enough.
I just make him a joke at Dwight.
Give credit to Stan Van.
Yeah. He came up with a system that worked great around his best player. Credit to him.
Hito Turkoglu, Rashad Lewis, Jameer Nelson. I mean, there was some killers on that Magic team.
Absolutely lights out. Yep.
But at least
for me,
what's the biggest memory? What's the most favorite memory you have?
Couple of memories. One I think would be his playoff game against the Trailblazers, the Scottie Pippen series, where it was him going up against Jordan's number 2 guy. The Trailblazers had a good team, but it was just the Shaq and Kobe trying to dismantle them, and like the last minute plays. That series was special. There was so much back and forth, and that one will always be special to me. I think the other one...
You're talking about the 2000 Western Conference Finals?
Yeah. I think the other one that just for a fun reason was obviously the Matt Barnes, inbounds pass, trying to throw, just trying to fake him out with the ball to the face, and Kobe just doesn't flinch. Like, the man just statues it, and it's like, what do you even do to that? Like, he was just so fearless. He was so intense on the court. you couldn't get him to back down. And I think that meant a lot to a lot of people when you watched him play. And obviously, Kobe's All-Star games were always fantastic, like especially earlier in his career when he did get to go up against Jordan. I think that was Jordan got in on the Wizards, and right? Am I misremembering that, or now I want someone to fact check me?
I gotcha.
But no, I mean it was just he had a lot of great moments in his career, and I think even some of the funny stuff like
2002 and 2003, he was an All-Star, Jordan.
Yeah.
He was also an All-Star in 98, so I don't know if Kobe clipped there. But
Kobe was an All-Star in 97, 98.
yeah,
So I think that was that year.
so they probably played 4
Yeah.
All-Star games against each other.
But they just had great moments. And for Kobe to go up and model his game after Jordan, because he grew up watching Jordan beat Jordan, and then to get the chance during the All-Star game to kind of punk him with his own moves, it was incredible. And I think it felt like a natural like a handoff of you're going to be one of the biggest faces in the NBA. So yeah, I think like the couple of moments earlier in his career where he cemented, like, it was this kid coming out of high school who was hyped up. And if you watched the Jerry West interview when he's talking about the whole transition before they even signed Shaq, it was him going after Kobe Bryant, and then the calls with Shaq over the phone being like, when you come here, we've got the guy who's going to be the next guy. It's not you. Like, it's Kobe Bryant. Like, this 17-year-old is going to be the best player in the league. And watching Jerry West talk about this was heartbreaking, but it was also, like, amazing to see that insight, because I didn't know. It got me to dig deeper. I didn't know that Jerry West had basically housed Kobe Bryant for a couple of months. Like, he was living with the West family. Jerry West's son was Kobe Bryant's best friend for a while.
Would have been tampering like no tomorrow now in the NBA, but
well, no, I think this was after
after they
he
drafted
had,
him,
been traded from the Hornets.
Started talking about like they're scouting him. It's like, hey, come on.
No. But they did have him in, like, and for the workouts, even for the draft, it was like he was just schooling kids who were older than him, with 3-year, 4-year players out of college, and he's just embarrassing them. And then on the second workout, Jerry West had one of the great defenders on his team who was probably, at the end of, over the hill, come in, and Kobe annihilated him within, 15 minutes. He's like, that's enough. I don't need to see more. And it's just watching Jerry West talk about him, the guys who actually knew Kobe Bryant more and more, it adds so much more to, understanding Kobe and getting a better feel for him after he's gone.
At least you mentioned the All-Star game stuff, so I think we can at least go into what the NBA announced that they're going to do with this year's All-Star game for 2020.
I didn't even see this. What do they say?
You didn't see this?
No.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, first off, Team LeBron will wear all players will wear number 2 for Gianna, and then all of Team Giannis will wear 24 for Kobe.
Okay.
There will also be jersey patches displaying 9 stars, representing all of those people who lost their lives in the crash. So at least that will be what you're seeing with the jerseys.
Yeah.
All the jerseys are inspired by the L system in Chicago, since it is going to be in Chicago. So you're going to see all those patches on every single jersey, from the Rising Stars to the dunk contest to the All-Star game. But for the All-Star game format, this is what's going to happen. Both NBA All-Star teams will play for Chicago-based community organizations as selected by team captains Giannis and LeBron. Teams will compete to win each of the first 3 quarters, all of which will start with the score of 0-0 and will be 12 minutes long. So every quarter will be starting 0-0, and there'll be 12 minutes, so like a typical quarter.
Interesting.
At the start of the 4th, the game clock will be turned off, and a final target score will be set. The final target score will be determined by taking the lead of the team's cumulative score through 3 quarters and adding 24 points, the 24 representing Kobe Bryant's uniform number. Once the final target score is set, teams will play to an untimed 4th quarter, and the first team to reach the final target score will win the NBA All-Star game. For example, if the cumulative score of the first 3 quarters is 100 to 95, the target score would be set at 124. To win the All-Star game, the team with 100 points would need to score 24 points in the 4th quarter before the team with 95 points scores 29, and vice versa. The community organizations will be selected by the winner of each of the first 3 quarters will receive $100,000. So if LeBron wins quarter 1, Giannis wins quarter 2, LeBron wins quarter 3, LeBron's charities gets $200,000, and Giannis gets $100,000. A total of $300,000 will be donated to charity for the first 3 quarters. The winner of each first 3 quarters will be the team with the higher score at the end of the 12-minute quarter. The winning team in the All-Star game, i.e. the team that reaches the target score first, will earn $200,000 for its designated community organization. So those are at least the All-Star game announcements.
Yeah, that's really unique.
It is unique, and the one thing that I immediately thought of how to honor Kobe, because I won't get into why, but I think retiring his jersey league-wide is absurd. I think changing the logo as well would be an absurd idea. The one thing that I thought, though, because he is important to the game of basketball, and he was always a competitor, he and Bob Pettit are the players with the most MVP for All-Star games. I thought naming it the Kobe Bryant NBA All-Star game, or MVP, All-Star game MVP.
Just how we got the Larry O'Brien trophy for the title.
Wouldn't have been bad. Bill Russell, Finals MVP.
Yep.
I thought that would have made sense.
Yeah.
I don't dislike this format because, A, it's going to bring something new to the All-Star game, which I'm appreciative of. It's bringing more fans to a game that Kobe tried harder at, and also they needed to switch up something, so I don't hate this idea.
Yeah.
And obviously, no one's going to be able to hate the jersey ideas, the patches and the numbers. But what do you guys think?
I kind of agree with Soapy in a little bit. It's kind of weird where the thing that I think is weird, though, is does the quarter have to reset? Where we don't, like, the first thought I have, and this may sound sarcastic, this may sound like an asshole, but this is who I am sometimes, where I'm just like, we don't have the technology to know, like, okay, well, like, how you look at a box score, like, through the game, it's cumulative, but we can still keep track of the individual quarters, and I know that on the flip side, I thought to myself, well, if you have it reset, then the players know what the score is for that second quarter. So maybe the players get more competitive for the charity. That's, yet again, me thinking in my mind on the, like, hopeful side rather than any dark side. But, like, that was my big thing. Is like, does it have to reset every quarter? We can't keep track of what the score is each quarter and just have it cumulative throughout. But that's really the only thing I nitpicked from it. Like, anything else is, it is what it is. Like, nothing's bad about it, is what I'm going to say.
I kind of like the reset in between quarters. Like,
I think they call them the Elam rules. They took it from the Big Three, if I'm correct.
I think that it sets a different tone because in All-Star games, usually, in the past couple of years, they had started off as kind of blowouts one way or the other. They weren't super competitive until usually the fourth quarter. So by bringing that score back to 0-0, at least visually, even though we are keeping tally throughout the game, it gives the players a fresh mindset every quarter because it's like, here's a new starting point. Like, okay, we lost the first quarter, but it's 0-0 to start the second. Like, it's the way you chop up a game. Like, as a coach, you hear guys talking about win the next 4 minutes, win the next 5 minutes. That's how we get back in the game. And I think for them to chop it up into quarters is it's a nice piece.
Yeah, the one thing that I was a little bit iffy on, it was less of resetting, although I do think it was weird. I think you could just keep a rolling tab of who won each quarter. But
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
But also, it's not the worst thing in the world. Like, it's not going to make or break the game either way. The one thing, though, is the untimed fourth quarter, because last year the fourth quarter was 46-33. So, like, and that was in 12 minutes. So this might be like a 5-minute quarter because all it is 8 threes.
Yeah.
If you hit 8 threes, the game's over. And for the NBA with that much spacing, it's not hard to hit 8 threes.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing that I'm just worried about is that it could be a 3-minute quarter and the All-Star game's over.
I could honestly see them slowing it down. Like, if they know they're getting close, I could see it slowing down.
Adam Silver sitting there on the sideline. Slow it down.
It's just it might be one of those moments where they just don't want the clock, the game to end.
LeBron dribbles it up. You see Adam Silver sitting there on the sideline just doing one of these, like,
Adam Silver's doing this to LeBron.
If he's Spike Lee.
We got some time. Eat up that clock, big boy.
Just joke. But yeah, no, I mean, I don't dislike the rules, and I'm now a little bit more excited for it.
Yeah.
To at least see how it's going to play out, and also, like, I think the death of Kobe is weirdly enough just going to make me tune into this now. I think not saying that I'm glad this happened or anything but I think now the death of Kobe is now going to probably actually make me watch the All-Star game just because I'm intrigued to see what they're going to do. And if Kobe didn't pass away, I don't think it would intrigue my interest as much. And I don't know if it's a horrible thing to say or if I'm just saying it the wrong way.
But
at
least you're saying it is, the change is why you're going to tune in now. and the change wouldn't have happened if Kobe didn't perish.
Yeah, I mean, like, it would have just been a normal All-Star game if this didn't happen. And I think now that it's not a normal All-Star game, I'm going to be interested to see how they remember Kobe and how it's all
a tribute to.
Yeah,
you know?
I'm horrible at words. We are the worst podcast to remember somebody.
Oh,
if you want to be eulogized by a podcast,
Probably
not
not
us,
us.
buddy.
I think the
Not
Ali
us.
Shafir podcast would be worse for this topic, but that's besides the
I ain't going
point.
there.
I mean, we're not as much better.
I think I'm a lot better than
Okay.
Ali Shafir.
No. All right.
As like
On
a person overall.
Twitch.tv, we got our people saying Silver was screaming manager load. All right. That's the reaction that we get from this. All right.
Fucking love it.
I'm surprised you're not laughing.
Nope.
All right. Well, I'm good on you because you were talking earlier about how death
Got it out.
makes us laugh. And,
It does.
How not laugh, but like these awkward, uncomfortable
you don't know how to
new
internalize it.
situations are odd.
It's just tough to internalize. Like something you can't put in your mind. Like it doesn't make sense to your brain. It's like this guy's 41. Oof, that was almost bad.
It's so incomprehensible
I
that
like
he's
how
knocking over his water.
let's just pause. Like, is he dripping?
Is the cap on? Thank God. No, it's
I want to put it behind the computer. But That's just me, man.
Nope.
Right next to your $1,000 laptop.
Both of them. The point I was trying to say, when things don't make sense to your brain, like I default to laughter. Like that's terrible, maybe that's great. It's just that's how my body
just how your
processes it
brains
when I
work.
don't understand what's going on. And I think that's what it is. It's like we lost, a legend of the game, just after he had said goodbye to the game. It's bizarre. Like Ricky, you said, when people live their full lives and they pass, it's sad, but it's not the same. Like losing.
Like when Betty White finally kicks the can, it's like she's so old, the where it's like she lived a full life.
For actors, yeah. I was saying like for basketball, like why can't I remember?
Bill Russell.
I would say
Bill Russell's alive.
Wilt Chamberlain.
No, I'm saying Wilt Chamberlain.
Like when Wilt passed, like it was sad, but it wasn't like it didn't hit as hard, and I think that's the difference.
He also died of like a heart attack, I think, right?
Right, but he had lived a full life. That's the point I'm making. Like Dale Earnhardt Sr., when he died, like in a race, like that hit so hard. And I wasn't even a huge NASCAR fan. I just watched it like casually as a kid.
And also the thing that's different is what this goes off of something that Sean said earlier that I thought about. It's also because Sean was mentioning how it's like, well, we're not a part of Kobe's family, but we all felt something when this happened. It's your impact. When you're a public figure, whether it be acting, a pro athlete, a politician, when you make a connection with the public.
Yeah.
Like Kobe Bryant is the only person that kids now that I teach that never watch Kobe play.
Yep.
They roll up their ball of paper and they go, Kobe, and they throw it in the trash can. Why do they do it? Because that's what we started. Like people started doing that early on. And that is something that maybe Kobe didn't do himself.
Yeah.
But it took on a life of its own, and it's a legacy that he built. So I would say that a legacy that his name kind of built, to where it's like when you're remembered like Kobe was, it's going to sting a little bit harder, a lot bit harder.
I completely agree.
But to your point of Wilt, Wilt was 63 years old. He started having heart trouble, and he just naturally deteriorated.
As a 7-footer, like it's one of those things where I fully expect people to not live forever. Like Andre the Giant was a massive man. There was no way he can live healthy to 90. Like that's just not an expectation.
Like when everyone got scared of Ric Flair when he got rushed to the hospital for his heart attack.
Yeah, a guy who's spent his career with so many injuries, so many serious things almost happening, but he made it through, and
Like Betty White's 98.
Yeah.
90-year-old women, they die. Like, I mean, that's
It's gonna
the
happen
age.
someday.
And, hopefully she doesn't. Shout out her. But,
Hashtag to the best birthday on the planet.
when you're 41 years old and you look how Kobe did,
Yeah.
he looked, he looked like he looked better post-retirement than he did when he was playing. Like, he looked more in shape. He looked more healthier, now.
He was
when you
happier, too.
When you saw him on the sidelines with Gianna at the Nets game, that he looked like he was 20.
Yeah.
Like, he looked so young, and it's just weird seeing someone that young pass. So, I think the final thing that I'll share again, I'll stay away from, I'll share my favorite memory of Kobe, and it was a 60-point game. Because it was
the very last one.
Yeah, it was the one against Utah. It was the most Kobe way to go out, taking 50 shots in your last game. Like only Kobe could do it.
Could do.
And that was what everyone was predicting. That Kobe would take like 50 shots in that game and try to get 60. But it was weird because as the person that loves offensive rating and that loves true shooting percentage and that loves efficiency, the last 5 minutes of that game are, I think, some of the best basketball I've watched, like prior to the Game 7 of the 2016 finals. Like, because that happened before. If you asked me, like, what game should I go back and watch? It would be the Kobe last 5 minutes of that game.
Well, did you...
Because just the idea of Chase, it was just like, oh my God, he's at 40. It's like, holy shit, how did he get to 50? It's like, he's going to hit 60. And then he's at the line, and it's the Gordon Hayward thing. I believe Gordon Hayward that he didn't mean to do that. But, yeah, it was just that he got to 60. And, like, we were just like, of course he would. Like, Kobe, the guy that is the ultimate competitor, is going to go out and, at least on the floor, is going to go out and, you know, try to do everything that he can to win the game for his team. And he ended up hitting the game-winning shot. And to me, he's very similar to Derek Jeter. I think playing career-wise, maybe a little bit overrated because of their media market, because of the team they played for, because of the championships they won. But they're no doubt Hall of Famers. They're no doubt top 10 players at their position. Kobe's a top 10 player in the NBA, of all time.
And that's
like,
the other thing.
These guys are, I think, you know, are heralded because of what they meant to people and the connections that you made, like you said earlier. Jeter was able to connect with people. Kobe was able to connect with people. He wasn't able to connect to everybody, but the people that he did, clearly the sport came out.
And did you see ESPN did the final game again the day after, and even Reddit did like a full watch-along thread, and it was special. Like, the whole community for the NBA got behind it, kind of relived that last game, and it was something special. It was something nice that, you know, didn't have to happen, but I think it pulled people back to, like, this is something horrible that happened, but let's go back to, like, take away the positive. Like, this is the legacy that he left the NBA.
Yeah, the two things, one that I was going to say, the other one that just popped up while you were talking was everyone even saying, too, that, like, the other thing that hits hard with this is he was going to be enshrined into the Hall this year with arguably, people are saying, one of the greatest classes that we're ever going to see in the Hall of Fame. Because I know for sure Tim Duncan was going to be in it with him. So, like, you have that, but
Duncan, Garnett, Bryant.
Yeah. The last thing I would say with it is just, I want to take something that Dave said. This is called the callback, bringing it back. Dave said, we got to watch, and more so Dave and I, because Sean, like you said, when Kobe was drafted, you were 2. We got to watch Kobe grow up in front of our eyes. Whether that was the change of 17-year-old kid to where he was when he retired, going through the off-the-court stuff they had to deal with, and how pre-court case, after-court case Kobe is much different. And then even the Phil Jackson stuff, where Phil Jackson comes out with a book, calls you uncoachable, and I think that even, like, made Kobe maybe think about himself a little bit. There were older Kobe was way different than younger Kobe. So it's like we got to watch Kobe, like you said, grow up literally in front of our eyes. For me and you, from when we were about 6 or 7 all the way until we were in our 20s.
Yeah, the last couple of things from my end, if you haven't watched a lot of the former players, former coaches talk about their memories with Kobe, I think the Jay Williams interview the day of was fantastic. I want to give him credit because he told a story about how it was his rookie year in the NBA, and Jay Williams, for those who don't know, his career was cut short from a motorcycle accident, and he only had basically that 1 year to shine. And he goes to a game, and he's playing a game in LA, and he goes to the practice facility, and it's like he gets to the gym, Kobe's in there working out hard. When he gets there, he does his full workout set, finishes, Kobe's still doing the same, still going 100%. And after, like, comes up and asks him, like, you know, whatever, and they start talking a little bit, Kobe's like, I want you to know that no matter how hard you try, I'm going to be better than you. I'm going to do more than you. Like, there's no way. And that's the Mamba mentality that, like, no, seriously. I know, Sean, you hate that line, but
it is.
His mentality and his effort to win, his work ethic is something that, was separate than him as a player.
I
It's
am
something
going to
that
go
is
above you
Yes.
to get what I want.
I hate it for the reason that the nickname was where it came from. It came from because he didn't like that people started hating him because of the stuff after 2003.
right.
So
I know,
So
that awful commercial.
he
Yes.
created a mentality over
Right.
being hated over a crime.
No.
And I know some people will say that he wasn't convicted.
Yep.
If that's your thought process, I disagree with you. That's fair.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. This isn't the podcast for that. The reason why I hate it, and I just want to clarify because
That's
you guys
fine.
brought it up, is because of the place that it came from. So Mamba mentality, if you want to take that and take a positive from it, go ahead. I just think it comes from a very gross place.
That's whatever. It's what it is in the general public, so that's what I'm going to refer to it as.
It's whatever.
No, I'm serious. Like, I understand where it came from.
yeah,
I'm just saying
I
that
know.
it's so far removed from that in my mind because of how much I've heard about it for the last decade.
Well, but I also think again, like, and I think that we were so young that I don't think we fully understood
Yeah.
what was happening in 2003.
Yep. Point being,
I'll shut up.
His work ethic was one of the things that set him apart from a lot of players, from almost every other player. So the Jay Williams interview was great. The Shaq interview was fantastic.
Yeah, just inside the NBA.
Seeing Sharif get the message from him the morning of, and like the conversation back and forth, and that just stops. It was just heartbreaking. One of the last things, oh God, what was
The
it?
TNT, just the entire.
Yeah.
I just want to give that a
Credit-
shout out.
you're
the,
right.
the entire inside the NBA thing with Jerry West, Shaq. That's
Yeah.
where the Shaq thing was coming from
Yep.
too. Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to that.
That was all fantastic. I'm trying to think what my one last memory of him was, and I'm gonna say there's definitely something that stood out. You were saying about the coachability and
Yeah.
like listening to the criticism of the public when Kobe Bryant getting towards the end of his career, took a lot of harassment about the fact that he was a ball hog, that he wasn't a team player.
Luke Walton standing in the corner saying, "Hey, I'm
that
open."
He went out and was like, "Oh, you want me to pass the ball? Fine." And he goes out and averages a triple-double for like 2 weeks straight. He's like, "I can move the ball around. We're not going to win as many games if I do that, but I can prove everybody wrong and do that." And I thought that was like the
Dave
out of
liked it
spite.
because it was spiteful.
It was out of spite, and he's playing awesome and getting 10, 11, 12 assists. He was doing stuff that hadn't been done since Jordan in the 80s. And I thought that was kind of funny, and that just kind of, it just all adds together in my memory of him.
And not Soapy, Sam makes a good point in our Twitch chat of, you can, even if you left off the Mamba mentality of calling it that, the point is he is the only person that I have seen in my life that has matched Jordan's drive. Where Jordan was the type of player where it's like, I'm going to beat you. Whatever, like, and if you get me the first game, I'm coming at you twice as hard to get you the second game.
They did
Kobe
it
had
differently, which is funny.
They did it differently,
because
but
like,
Kobe
had the work ethic and
Yeah.
be like, I'm devoting my entire life to
Well-
it. Where Jordan's smoking stogies, getting
Yeah.
drunk, going to clubs.
I mean,
And I don't mean this to be a.
he was just gifted.
I don't mean this to be a shot
He had
at,
the work
at,
ethic,
at
though,
Kobe, but also like Kobe had all this. It just shows how good Michael is.
Yeah.
Because literally he was so lackadaisical about it, and Kobe was so hardcore about it, and Jordan's numbers are just so stupid.
They're
and it's just
incredible,
like
yeah.
it's just like that guy was so. And I just want to.
So
it's
naturally
more,
talented.
It's more of a credit to Michael
Yeah.
Jordan being one of the,
Oh,
probably
he's-
the greatest player of all
Absolutely.
time.
Absolutely.
So it's just more of just like a holy shit.
Yeah.
You try to do everything that he did. You tried to even be better than him,
Yep.
like working at it, and then you still didn't come close because just Jordan's Jordan.
He came as close as anybody we've seen so far.
But it's one.
But yes.
It's a good guy to
Yep.
to try to match.
Yep.
And I mean, still, he's gonna go down as top 10 NBA player.
Yeah.
All right.
And that's.
I don't want to cut anything off. So if you guys want to,
no, that was my final thought.
Yeah.
I think it's a very, it's a good thing to bring up the stories. Jay Williams is a good one. Big credit to ESPN for letting him swear as well.
Yeah.
There's nothing better than letting people just be emotional
are.
and raw.
Yeah.
On live television, that's the point of reaction. And if you're gonna,
Censor people.
censor it, then yes, absolutely. And censor it in the. I mean, like I'm censoring myself right now, but it's for. I think I'm trying to be as respectful as possible to people who don't want to hear the things I want to say. But actual censoring of emotion,
Yeah.
that's different. So I mean, and there's a ton of positive stories to take, and I think the biggest thing that I want to say is, at least for me, and for other people, Bob Costa said something great about let's not canonize Kobe because he was an imperfect human, but all the stories you're hearing about Al Duncan talking about him being proud that he was a girl dad, and the Jay Williams stories of not taking people for granted, right? And the people that you have in life for granted.
Just let it go.
Take the positives out of those stories and make yourself a better person. So although Kobe has things that are very, very, let's say, that are very negative, take the positives out of his life. And if we are going to have heroes in this life, at least make sure you are trying to emulate them in the most positive way possible. Because you might have a negative person as your idol, and if it's like someone awful like Hitler, then don't have him as your hero. But if it's someone like Kobe, if you're going to take his work ethic and bring that into your life, take the positives from it, because that is a good thing. Not everything with Kobe is bad, and that's what I want to say. And there are positives to this. If you want to be a great dad to the girls that you have, do that.
Yeah. You just sparked two things. One,
be a good dad in general. Don't need motivation for it, but be proud of it. That's what I was trying to say.
The one thing you just sparked in my head was, I think this was in the Shams interview that he shared, because a lot of people were in, yet again, one of the girls that I talked to, she even was like, well, why did they have to take a helicopter? Why couldn't they have taken a car? And it's like, first off, LA traffic. I agree with you. But
Kobe's been doing it for 20 years.
Exactly. And Shams asked him about it. And the reason why he got it was because of his girls, where he's like, I could 15-minute helicopter ride to the stadium, work out, I can fly back. And he's like, I can pick the girls up from school. I can drive them to school. And his wife would be like, well, you don't have to do that. Like, I can do it. And he goes, no, I want to do it, because even if it's just a 20-minute car ride is the only time I get to spend with my girls, I want to spend it. And like what you were saying, take positive.
Yeah.
That to me is a positive. He could have been like how many other people we've seen where it's like, nope, got to work on my craft, girls. Your mom can take care of you. But no, he wanted to be a part of their life. And because of that, I had this question. Do you think when we get to, and I'm taking this because Retro said we're not going to be able to hear his Hall of Fame speech.
Yeah.
Do you think either Vanessa or one of his other daughters gives a speech for him at the Hall of Fame?
I think typically it has been the spouse of the person, so I think it would likely be Vanessa.
I mean, if she doesn't want to, I would assume one of the daughters might want to.
That is not a good spot to put anybody in, so I am not envious
if they
of them.
want to, like, we're not pushing
I know, but
anyone.
like, I don't know. I think that's too early. It hasn't been a week yet.
Or is it going to be someone like Shaq?
I typically, from what I know, I think that it is likely that Vanessa will speak. Typically, just with these past athletes. Yeah. It has been the what's it called? The widow, or that typically speaks. I think I'm mainly thinking of like Roy Halladay when he passed away. I believe his wife spoke. And people are saying Shaq. I think it's probably he'll probably be like the person that like inducts him.
Because also like with Vanessa, like you said, it's only been a week. Well, look at how long it took her.
It hasn't even been a week.
It hasn't even been a week, but how long she didn't come out and have a comment right away. Like, and
how could you?
I'm not saying
that's the thing.
And that's the thing. I'm not saying she should.
I'm not bashing what you said. I'm just saying,
but like it was.
I mean, I'm surprised she came out as quickly as she did.
It was almost until like what, Thursday or Friday where she had that Instagram post where it was like other stories we've seen where the widow is like, I don't know if they feel that like they have to, but they usually get it out sooner, and it's like, fucking take your time.
Yeah, I think it's different though when you expect it and you could craft it where she wasn't expecting this. Yeah, and I know
and she lost her husband and her
Kobe.
daughter.
Yeah,
so
her and Kobe had a pact that said they weren't going to ride in a helicopter together because if something like this happened. But even though you make a pact like that, I don't think you prepare something for that to happen. So. She could have taken as long as she wanted to. And I know you're not saying that she should have came out sooner or anything like that. I want to clarify that. I'm just saying, like, that woman.
Yeah, she's going through so much pain.
For her. Yeah.
No.
So
I think the one point though about Kobe being a father, like his career as an NBA player ended, and you saw him do a 180. Like he tried to take a step away from, it was I'm not going to coach right away. I'm not going to do like these things. He started talking about the game of basketball. He spent more time with his family. And like you said, Sean, he looked healthier. He looked happier. He looked like he was enjoying his time more as he got to spend time with his daughter, teaching her the game of basketball that he loved growing up playing. And I know even, part of it was his relationship with his father that had been rocky for years. It all led into him wanting to be so involved with his family. Once he had that extra available time, he wanted to spend all of it with his family. And I think that's, like you said, one of those great positives to take away from him.
Yeah. So those are our memories on Kobe Bryant. We are streaming live on twitch.tv, and a lot of stuff is coming in. So shout out to everybody that is in there sharing their memories of Kobe. If you have any, obviously share them down in the comments as well. This podcast was originally supposed to be a celebration because we did have, this is our 250th episode. So if we do end up getting to a lighter mood and you find that distasteful, we're sorry. Obviously, we want to spend as much time about Kobe that we thought necessary. So hopefully we did a good enough job to at least share our memories with Kobe. Yeah. Rest in peace, Kobe. Rest in peace as well to Gianna Bryant, to Alyssa Altobelli, Peyton Chester, Carrie and John Altobelli, Sarah Chester, Christina Mauser, and Ara Zobayan.